greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Now, you don't need to see Michael Douglas's 1987 movie Wall Street to understand its unofficial 1993 counterpart Falling Down, but it does help. So briefly, Wall Street highlights the cutthroat yet stylistic world stockbrokers make for themselves, sometimes legally and other times through insider trading. Falling Down is the response to Wall Street's message of money and power. Here, Falling Down depicts what would happen if a person had to endure the same capitalist society the crooked brokers built, but as one of the average Joes who lost their job, which was a choice Gordon Gekko, Michael Douglas's character, had no problem doing to others in Wall Street. This video will discuss how Gordon Gekko's capitalist society became the norm, taking away people's sympathy for others and replacing it with a thirst for money, as seen through Bill Foster's character as he ventures through Los Angeles. Falling Down explores the terrible reactions of the people who have lost their jobs after devoting so much of their lives to it. In Wall Street, Charlie Sheen's character Bud Fox learns that Gordon Gekko destroyed his father's company, which he had worked for over 2 decades. Falling Down tells that story.
If these people lose their jobs, they got nowhere to go. My father has worked there for 24 years. I gave him my word.
The movie opens up with an extreme close-up on Bill Foster's face. Throughout the movie, he is referred to as Defense because of his job title, so let's just keep with that and call him Defense. Defense looks uneasy, nervous, like he's about to have a mental breakdown, which he does in a few minutes. The camera begins to move around to view the others in traffic. The very next person the movie shows is a young girl staring at him from the car in front of him. The little girl represents his daughter. It's his daughter's birthday, so the sight of the girl is probably making him feel guilty for not being there with her. The camera makes an obvious pan to the American flag on the side of a bus. With the exception of his personal family drama, every interaction Defense has with others during his trek throughout Los Angeles actually implies some type of monetary transaction represented by American capitalism. And that's what Falling Down is about, the negative effects capitalism has on American society. Next, we see a few shots of bumper stickers. One says financial freedom. This foreshadows exactly what we later find out Defense does not have. He lost his job for whatever reason, and it has since left him in dire straits. Another bumper sticker, this time of a Christian nature. He died for our sins. This also foreshadows Defense's death. The sins part symbolizes his interaction with the people of LA and their focus on being money hungry. In other words, the sins represent American greed, leaving people without sympathy. He can't take it anymore, so he bails, leaving his car in traffic, beginning his adventure. So after a brief phone call to his wife, where he doesn't speak at all, Defense enters a nearby convenience store to get more change to make another phone call. This is when the money themes really start. The first shot is of the Korean store owner opening a roll of change for his register drawer. The camera focuses on it. The movie is telling us that the owner of the store absolutely has change to give Defense, but he chooses not to help him. To the owner, making money is more important than helping someone in need.
I get some change for the phone.
No change. Have to buy something.
I don't understand.
85 cents. 85 cents.
That doesn't give me enough money for the phone call.
Although from Korea, the movie blatantly portrays him as a heartless American store owner. There's even a pig statue on the counter to symbolize the owner's gluttony for money. A neon sign that reads lottery tickets is in frame too. Lottery being all about people obsessed with thinking that they'll win loads of free money. Chaos ensues, beginning with the conversation about the price of the soda. Note the obvious falling of the American flags when they're struggling for the baseball bat. Defense doesn't want the money. He goes on a tirade about inflated prices, destroying the place each time a price is too high compared to the ones in 1965.
Just standing up for my rights as a consumer. I'm rolling back prices to 1965. What do you think of that? Well, I think this whole shelf looks suspect.
He pays 50 cents for the soda, not robbing the owner. He even opens up the register drawer and removes the correct change.
It's been a pleasure frequenting your establishment.
The other main character is Detective Prendergast, played by the great Robert Duvall. It's his last day as a cop before he retires to Arizona with his wife. They had a daughter too, but she died in her sleep when she was 2 years old. Prendergast keeps a photo of his daughter in his desk. He later imagines he sees her at a hospital. When his wife calls and tells him that she's had a bad feeling about his last day, he plays it off as if she's crazy, which at many times she does seem to be unhinged. Ironically though, his wife is actually correct. Today, Prendergast will seek out to stop Defense from hurting his own wife and child. In a way, it's symbolic redemption for Prendergast losing his own daughter. To cheer her up, he plays London Bridge is falling down on a snow globe. Perhaps the snow globe is a memento he keeps to remind himself of his daughter. It most likely is because Defense later buys a snow globe for his daughter that also plays the same song. Next, we see Defense sitting on what looks like an abandoned property of some sort as he enjoys his soda. He notices another little girl staring at him. Defense is approached by 2 Latin gang members looking for trouble. Defense tries to talk his way out of it. They agree to let him go unscathed on the one condition he gives them his briefcase. One even refers to this transaction as paying a toll.
I think it should be a toll. Good idea. It should be a toll. How about that fucking briefcase, man? Good idea. Give us your briefcase, man.
This theme of money in exchange for goods comes up again. Although it isn't as common as paying for an item at a store, the gang members recognize that an exchange of currency for allowing Defense to leave is required in this situation. And it should be noted that they ask for his briefcase, not his wallet. You would think that the man's wallet is more important because it would carry money and credit cards, all the necessary things needed for the immediate buying of goods. But instead they ask for his briefcase. Now, at best, a briefcase would consist of files and paperwork, not money. They demand the briefcase because it symbolizes his status as a working-class American. The briefcase, the tie, the pocket protector. Defense looks like someone with a decent profession, and by taking the briefcase, they would rob him of his white-collar status. But Defense knows this and refuses to give up his briefcase, and therefore, by extension, his status. During the homeless man scene, the movie really takes its time to show the social commentary of the park. Mixed in with people having a good time are people dying of AIDS, and homeless people, and cops breaking up a fight. All of this goes on while children are having a good time at the playground. The contrast shows that nobody gives a shit about the unfortunate people around them who need help. They only care about themselves. There's even a sign that says, "No matter, never mind," meaning that no one cares about people who need help. While Defense is looking at a little girl on a bike and most likely thinking about his own daughter, a homeless man approaches him and tries to swindle him out of money. Defense knows he's being bullshitted by the bum, so he asks for proof of a car. The bum then tries to use guilt by persuading Defense about being a veteran and then starving, but the bum can't lie that well. The bum then begins to outright pressure Defense for money. When Defense denies the bum and tells him to get a job, the bum becomes hostile, noting that Defense has 2 bags. Money, again, plays a part by showing that even a low-level person like a bum who has no possessions will still try to connive a person out of money. It shows that money doesn't just corrupt the working man or a CEO, but also street bums. The bum brings the money issue right to his face. It's a blatant cash grab by the bum, whereas other times when money is there, it is somewhat covert, hidden by whatever the situation brings.
That's a hell of a way to treat a vet, man. All I'm asking for is a little change. I haven't eaten in 3 days. Oh, come on, man. You gotta give me something.
Yeah, why don't you try to get a job?
I could sell those bags and eat for a week with the money.
Of all the scenes involving trade or commentary on money, nothing screams corrupt business like the Whammy Burger scene. It's probably the most famous to the audience because it's set in a very common place, a fast food restaurant. In fact, the color scheme and its interior resemble McDonald's. It's likely the writer or the filmmakers wanted to portray that close aesthetic similarity to really drive in the message for their distaste of McDonald's. The hamburger character they have as their mascot looks unmistakably like Mayor McCheese or Officer Big Mac. Defense wants breakfast, but it's past that time now, and now they're on the lunch menu, which is understandable. There has to be a cutoff point sometime. Otherwise, they would sell breakfast all day. And if they make that exception for him, they'll have to do the same for everyone else. So after Defense pulls a gun, the workers hurry to get his breakfast they said was over. but a ready box of breakfast food is there waiting right behind them. The workers in the back didn't even have to prepare it. It was already there. That shows that management simply didn't want to accommodate their own customer, similar to the Korean owner who had changed but didn't want to help. Funny enough, after all that, Defense chooses to have lunch. And when he gets his burger, it looks nothing like the picture in the menu.
Thank you. See, this is what I'm talking about. Turn around, look at that. You see what I mean? It's plump, it's juicy, it's 3 inches thick. Look at this sorry, miserable, squashed thing.
As Defense continues his adventure through LA, he stops to buy a snow globe. Just like Detective Prendergast's snow globe he played for his wife on the phone, this one also plays London Bridge is Falling Down. He notices a man protesting a bank. The man is dressed identically as Defense. He is complaining about not being approved for a bank loan even though he had been a customer of the bank for several years. He feels cheated and let down by an institution he invested many years in as a faithful customer. And when he went to them to honor his years of devotion, they denied him of a loan, calling him not economically viable. In other words, his credit isn't worthy of the bank taking a chance of loaning him money. This theme parallels Defense's. Instead of a loan, however, Defense lost his job working with the government because his worth as an employee isn't needed anymore.
They told me that I was not economically viable. 7 years I banked here. You know what they told me when I asked for a loan? A small loan. This is what happens if you're not economically viable. Don't forget me.
Defense attempts to call his ex-wife once again and doesn't get a response. When he exits the phone booth, a man confronts him about taking too long, which he hadn't been taking a long time in the phone booth because the call never went through. He was only in the phone booth for a few seconds. The man gets angry and berates Defense, to which he pulls a machine gun and blasts the phone booth, making it useless for the man to make a phone call now. The connection of money and his lack of sympathy is once again on full display here. The man is impatient, not being able to handle waiting just a few seconds for Defense to get off the phone. The sound of falling change is heard as it empties to the ground. This is important because it's obvious to the audience. It symbolizes the reason why the exchange took place. Unable to deal with the hole in his shoe any longer, Defense goes to an army surplus store. While there, the neo-Nazi owner takes a liking to him, thinking he's similar in perspective. The store owner takes Defense to the store's back room, where he shows him weapons. The room is littered with racist books and swastikas. The store owner tries to give Defense a bazooka, but Defense refuses, calling the guy a sick asshole. They argue, and the store owner pulls a gun and rummages through the gym bag of guns until he comes to the snow globe. He quickly smashes it. This enrages Defense enough to pull a knife, stab the store owner, and shoot him. After he makes his first murder, Defense changes into military clothes and takes his rocket launcher. He calls his ex-wife and tells her he passed the point of no return. He knows that killing the store owner was wrong, but necessary to achieve his goal of going home. The fact that he changed into new clothes, specifically military gear, highlights his aggressive mindset he will use for the remainder of the film. The entire surplus store scene depicts capitalism at its most extreme because the store is used to secretly harbor hate. Any money customers spend in the army surplus store goes to support a man who not only hates individuals, but also hates his country. That's why he says he supports vigilantism, and becomes enraged when Defense speaks of rights. It's an example of hyper-corrupt American capitalism designed to take down others based on differences not of itself, and will eventually collapse onto itself as well.
I got some great stuff here. Boo! World War I. You could take out a jumbo jet with one of these monkeys. With you. We're the same, you and me.
I'm an American. You're a sick asshole.
In America, we have the freedom of speech, the right to disagree. Fuck you and your freedom. No!
Feels good to exercise your rights, doesn't it?
Los Angeles is known for its terrible traffic. I've been to LA and I've seen it for myself. I guess the screenwriter wanted to make a statement about it. The construction workers he speaks with has an attitude from the moment they meet. Defense brings up inflated budgets as the reason for perpetual road construction all the time. Defense implies that construction companies overstate the amount of time and cost it takes to employ and build new roads or bridges. And if they don't use up that budget, they will be seen as having lied, and therefore won't get as much money for future projects. So even at the city level, the film suggests money is used improperly.
See, I don't think anything's wrong with the street. I think you're just trying to justify your inflated budgets. If you don't spend the money you have projected this year, they won't give you the same amount next year. What's wrong with the street?
Nothing.
First, man.
Okay.
Look out!
Defense makes the big mistake of walking towards two elderly men playing golf while on the green instead of using the designated roads. Defense seems to think nothing of it, but the reaction from the old man in the pink shirt reveals just how entitled he is about the unauthorized use of his golf course. Because he pays his dues and is a member of the club, the old man believes he is in charge of the situation, and therefore chooses not to wait until Defense walks by, or at the very least, speak to Defense in a calm way. He gets fed up and tries to hit him with a golf ball. Not only does the man lack patience, but he is aggressive to the point of violence. When Defense ducks from the incoming golf ball and whips out his shotgun, the old men realize the error of their ways.
What the hell? Nobody said you could play through. Get off my home. Listen, what am I paying my fucking dues for? This is my golf course. If I want to play here, I will play here. You understand?
Yeah. And now you're gonna die wearing that stupid little hat. How does it feel?
After cutting his hand while leaping a fence, Defense berates the people by the pool, referring to them as rich people and claiming that because they are rich, they don't care if innocent people like him cut their hands. He plays the victim here, calling himself innocent while knowing what he's doing is wrong. Just the sight of the mansion enrages him, making his accusations against them justified. He inquires about the plastic surgeon profession, leading to Defense discussing his own lack of a job. This theme of capitalism exploiting its members of its workforce only to suddenly discard them for whatever reason comes up again. He uses the not economically viable term from before. He tells them of his own family, how he's going home to see his wife and daughter, and what he says next foreshadows his true intentions if he does go home. He knows there is no happy ending to his story, so he likely plans on killing them before killing himself. That's the reference to going to sleep in the dark. Prendergast concurs this during the pier scene at the end.
Is this how you rich people amuse yourself? You put barbed wire all over the fence?
No, please.
Plastic surgery bought all this? I lost my job. Well, actually, I didn't lose it. It lost me. I'm not economically viable. And then when it got dark, we'd all go to sleep together. And everything would be just like it was before.
When Defense reaches his ex-wife's house, he stops to watch a home video of his daughter's birthday. This scene reveals his potentially violent attitude, and it continues with the money corruption theme too. His daughter cries because she doesn't want to get on the horse ride he bought her. His wife even says this aloud. In fact, his daughter is crying the whole time, but Defense insists, aggressively stating that he bought her the horse. He could have said anything at that moment, but he chose to use money as the reason his daughter should enjoy the horse ride. By her not enjoying the horse ride, he isn't getting his money's worth. And that's what Falling Down is about. The lack of compassion and sympathy for others because of money. Throughout the whole movie, Defense seems to rebel against that theme. But we find out now he was part of the problem as well. And that's what destroyed his family. His ex-wife claims Defense had the potential to get violent. And it was most likely when money was involved in the conversation, as we have seen him do to others during the whole movie.
Oh, it's okay, horsey. It's okay, honey. Giddy up. Horsey, damn it, just take her and put her on the horse. I bought her the goddamn horse. There we go, horsey ride.
It's only after Defense is confronted by Prendergast that he realizes what he has been doing has been a crime. I think this is the key dialogue in the whole movie that has potential to explain what it's all about. Who are they who had wronged him? The answer seems to be driving Defense to do what he does. The they in Falling Down is American capitalism. It's whoever is in charge of business and the power they wield over their employees. As an employee, he was obedient, loyal to a fault, and they still fired him. Just like the protester at the bank, he devoted years to a system that eventually let him down.
Oh, guys like you always say you don't know what you're gonna do until you do it. I think you know exactly what you were gonna do. You were gonna kill your wife and child.
No.
Yeah. And then you knew it would be too late to turn back. It would be real easy to turn the gun around on yourself.
I'm the bad guy?
Yeah.
How'd that happen? I did everything they told me to.
Let's go!